Hey guys, Jeff here from besttechie.com. Today we're going to be doing a fun video. We're going to be simulating an actual real-life drop of an iPhone 6 because we're having a company called Puls, P-U-L-S. They do a lot of iPhone repairs, other smartphone repairs, and also even smart home installations and other things like TV mounting. It's basically a service that you can pay, and they come in and do it for a fixed fee. So we're going to be testing out their service. They're sending out one of their guys over to my place to fix the brand new, well, slightly brand new, banged up a little bit iPhone 6 that I'll be dropping in just a minute. So here we have the iPhone 6. It's turning on, as you can see. This is kind of a banged up iPhone 6, but it still works. So what we're going to be doing now is dropping it in a real life kind of simulation of a drop test, if you will. So as you can see, everything works pretty much according to the way it's designed. There's one small issue with the screen. It looks like there's a... Oh, it actually looks like it also has battery issues because it just died. So we'll have to get that fixed as well. But basically there was a small issue with the screen that's basically on as a light spot in the bottom middle. Anyway, so let's do this drop test. So here we go. Hopefully they'll be able to fix it. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Wow, pretty resilient. We're gonna have to do this one more time. Whoa.
Let's see it.
Pretty bad. Look at this. It's all messed up. So the guy from Puls just showed up. He's already getting to work here. His name's Rob. Super nice guy.
How you guys doing out there?
This guy even got the Puls t-shirt on. Easy to identify. So what are you doing right now, actually?
So right now I'm just removing off a metal plate that covers the LCD, the digitizer, and the front-facing camera, and the home button connectors.
Gotcha.
They're all like Lego connectors, so you can just use a fingernail, or if you have like a plastic spudger, you can disconnect them. Just comes right off.
Easy peasy.
Yep. So now what I usually do is take my screen out. I usually test it really quick before. And then, like I said, they're Lego connections. So you just snap them in. You don't have to try to mash it too much, but you'll feel it, and then you hear a little click. Sometimes you don't, but that's good. Also, because I disconnected battery earlier.
Right. Make sure to do that. Is that something you should absolutely do first?
Yeah, you should do it first so that there's no more power running through the device. You don't want to, touch something and then it shorts out,
right,
because there's power or it's still live. So easiest way is just lift it up, undo the battery. Like I said, Lego. You could pop it up.
Yeah.
Disconnect it so you know that there's no more power. The device is turned off. So I checked the screen. So I'm just gonna continue to move forward with the process. So what I'll do is I'll just set this to the side for a second, and then I do need to remove some parts off of the old screen. Right now I'm doing the front-facing camera and speaker. So there's two speakers up here. One that when you make your phone calls, this is what you hear out of. And then also a lot of people get things mixed up, as in a sense your Siri speaker, your Siri mic is also up here as well.
Right.
And for a long time, I always thought it was in the bottom of the phone until I started repairing phones, and I had that issue where a customer was like, my Siri mic isn't working because there's a little metal mic right here.
Oh yeah, I see that. Yeah.
So that's where your Siri mic is at. And these cables are, as you saw, I pulled it, but I pulled it lightly and gently. These cables are very delicate. You pull on them too hard and they can even not rip, or they can rip, but they may not work. Mm-hmm. So you don't want to pull on them too hard. It's just a little bit of adhesive up there. I just slowly pull on it so that it just starts to break it a little bit, and then it'll come up.
How many phones would you say you've repaired over the course of your time at Puls right now?
Well, so that's a good question. I asked maybe about 6 months ago. So I've been with them for a full 2 years.
Okay.
January made my full 2 years, and they told me...
Happy anniversary.
Thank you. They told me I did roughly around like 3,000 repairs or something like that.
Wow, that's a lot of phones.
Yeah, do a lot of repairs for them.
I'd imagine that, you know, I've seen people like walk around, you know, with broken screens all the time, and it's like you can get that fixed, you know.
Yes.
For a reasonable price.
Exactly. A lot of people are not aware of companies like my company Pulls. So yeah, some will fight it out until their screen is completely broken, and then that's when they usually eventually search out or seek us out.
Right.
But a lot of people,
have you heard of any story from people you've repaired that have literally lived with their phone having a broken screen for?
Of course, yep. I've had customers that told me that their screen's been broken for over a year.
Oh wow!
And
I don't know if I could live like that.
Some people, because here's the thing: sometimes the screen breaks and it's not like where it's fine shards or stabbing your fingers.
Right.
Sometimes it's like a hairline crack that is very usable. The phone's still usable because the phone is made out of two things: the LCD and the digitizer. Digitizers what registers your touch.
Right.
So as long as that's working, even though it's cracked, people will just ride it out.
Yeah, yeah.
Majority of the time, to be honest, is the people that have those phones that wear the glasses stabbing them in the cheek or getting splinters on their thumbs. You know, those are the people that usually call first. But a lot of times, people, if it's still working, they'll still ride it out, which sometimes can be a bad thing because a lot of people, should you say, sometimes they wait and then the LCD blinks out, and if they haven't done a backup, then they may lose all of their information.
Right.
Because sometimes when the LCD is blacked out, the screen is still live. And people will try to put their passcode in, and then it'll lock them out to iTunes. I always tell my customers, please do backups. Utilize, should you say, your iCloud.
Right. That's the easiest way to do it these days.
Yes, because iCloud, once you come in the house,
automatically backs it up.
Yep, as soon as you put your phone to sleep for a second, it backs it up.
So what do we have going on here right now?
So
you've attached the new screen.
Yes, so what I did is I took off the home button, and it's attached to the, should you say, the heat shield.
Mm-hmm.
Every technician that works, they all have their own different technique. So like I said before earlier, the cables are very delicate, so I don't even like to disconnect this home button. So what I do is I pull this off with all of the 6 screws, and then this comes up easy. But there's just a little bit of adhesive on here that holds this down. So I just slightly, again, I pulled up. It came off as one, and then I just put it back on.
Gotcha.
The less I disconnect that home button and anything like that, the less problems it'll have.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure you may have seen sometimes people do repairs and home buttons don't work after that. So we want to stay away from it as much as possible, because you don't want to have someone not have Touch ID. So now I'm putting back the front-facing camera and the front-facing camera with the mic. That little square box with the metal contacts, it was the mic. So the other thing about that is if that's not in the proper correction, the proper spot, should you say, the metal contacts have to touch. If they don't touch, then when you make a phone call, you won't hear ringing. You won't hear the other person on the other end. So it's always good to make sure that should you say, those are making a proper contact.
Gotcha.
All right, so I just reconnected the battery and put the plate over it, the 2 screws.
Mm-hmm.
So we're good to go to close it up and then put the 2 set screws back in.
Now, where do those screws go in? Because I feel
These
like
two?
I feel like
The
I've
bottom,
never
right?
Right here. So a lot of people always like, where are you getting those
I'm
screws
like,
from?
I'm like,
That's like
Apple,
one of my,
like they really do a good job,
Yep.
like hiding everything. Like you really.
people sometimes think they're speakers because there is the little speakers here, the little
Right.
holes. So they mistake them sometimes for speakers.
Totally intentional on Apple's part to design it to hide it.
The other thing is there's a mic there too. So
Right.
people, just when you're looking at it, they may think it's a mic, or it's just part of your speaker. They don't necessarily think it's screws because it's not something that you can look at right away.
Oh, look at that.
It's powering on. Let's see. So the phone is on. It seems like it's working. One of the things that I noticed is this is a little white light.
Yeah, we noticed that before too. We thought that might have been just the screen, but I guess
what it could be is it could be 2 things. It could be there's something embedded on the heat shield. So what I'm going to do is open it up again.
Okay.
Let me turn it off first. It could be that it's something embedded on the heat shield, or it could be that something is not in place, because I did realize that this phone's battery has been changed already. So I disconnected everything.
Yeah, I just want you guys to see this. How literally the mat is magnetic. So all the screws and metal parts stick to it. You see how he just drops it on there, and he keeps everything separate so he knows where it goes back together.
Exactly.
Keeps it easy, and I guess it's a little less stressful when you have parts not flying around on you.
Exactly.
Especially with screws that tiny.
Yeah.
Because all of these screws are just about almost all different sizes. Some, like for example, these 6 screws, they're the same size, but these 3 are actually individually different sizes. These 5 are different sizes. The 2 set screws are the same. These 2 are different sizes. So yeah, I can put them back, but it would take me a lot longer if they
I
were
love
all
how you
mixed
have
up.
special placements for all of them.
Okay,
Like
so what I do is basically how I take the phone apart.
Yeah.
I line them up. So this little square is 5 screws. I put the screw that I took off there at the top left, the bottom right, left rather, middle in the middle, bottom right,
So you got a
top
whole
right.
system in place.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's great.
So it makes it easier so that when now it's time to, should you say, put things back together, I'm putting them back exactly the same way that they came off the device. Sometimes like pieces of glass will sit on it or get stuck on it, so that it just lays on the LCD, and the heat shield is just going to push it against it. So what I'm going to do is just going to lift it up a little and see. So there's something,
Yeah, I thought I saw like something on like flashed.
there's basically, it must have been glass that was sitting on here. So it came off, so we shouldn't see that light anymore. This is supposed to be solid black. Whatever it was on the inside made it scratch through to now it's metal.
That's okay. So I have a question.
Sure.
So let's say you drop your phone in the toilet. What's the best way to fix that?
Water damage?
Yeah, water
Asking
damage.
from experience here.
Is rice as good as they say?
Well, rice does suck the moisture out of the device. It works sometimes, and sometimes it's not the best, but I always tell customers to at least try it. It won't hurt, you know.
Yeah.
It's better than not doing anything. The other thing that you can do, what I tell people first off is when it drops in the water, if the device is on, try to turn it off. If it's already off, do not try to turn it on. Because
She made that mistake because she freaked out when she
Because
And
touched
I was
it.
like, and I tried it, and then it short circuited. But
Yeah.
the phone itself
Exactly.
still like it was able to like my alarm was still going off like after I dried it out, and I had like a daily alarm set for like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
And it would just keep going and going and going, but the screen was completely short circuited.
So what happened on your device is
this was like a 3GS or something.
9 out of 10. So on these devices, they have the backlight. So your fuse on your backlight, 9 out of 10 blew, because your device was still functioning. And I'm pretty sure if you put it to a certain angle and turned it on, you would have seen the Apple logo
wow.
turn on, and you probably could turn it off by sliding. But it's so faint,
Yeah.
you can't see it, but you know that it's on. If you hit the vibrate button,
Yeah.
you can feel the phone vibrate.
Right.
So we
That's
get
very
that a lot.
interesting.
Sometimes it happens. That's not a repair that we can actually necessarily do, because you do have to resolder that piece back onto the motherboard. But what I would recommend, like I said, is do not try to turn the phone back on, because that's number one. What people do, it's your natural instinct, just to see if it's gonna work. And 9 out of 10, you can short it out.
I didn't even think to like wash my hand first or anything. No, I was
Because you're trying to be like, oh snap, let me get it.
I called him and I was like sobbing. I was like, I dropped my phone.
So yeah, and then there's so many different techniques. Honestly, what I do is I open up the device when I see start to see where the water has gotten to. Sometimes people dip their phone in by mistake and it doesn't get all the way into everything. So I also try to do a process of elimination of if it's the screen, if it's the charging port, if it's the battery, if it's the logic board. Once it shorts out the logic board or the power supply, then the phone is usually
It's toast.
yes. If it's the battery, you can always replace the battery. If it's the charging port, you can always replace the charging port. The screen, of course, you can change those. But even with that being said, that phone still has a very good chance of later on being temperamental. You know, it's possibly going to act up later on. There's no true cure that will say, okay, now this phone doesn't have water damage.
Now, does this, whenever you open it up, like have a company like Pulse do it, is the warranty still intact, or are you like an Apple approved
So, well,
service?
we're not necessarily, I can't say we're approved by Apple, but your phone, as long as it still has a warranty by Apple, they can't deny you anymore. It used to be like that, but Apple can't deny you now. Even if a third party fixes your phone, you can't stick it in. Other than, should you say the phone like this, I'm pretty sure it's already out of the warranty. But like if you have like a 7 or you have an 8 or you have a 10, those phones still should have an Apple warranty, and if we do repair it, you can still take it into them. They should honor your warranty. Yes.
Looks like you fixed it.
Yep.
Yeah, look at that. The phone screen is completely fixed.
All right. So
Nice job, Rob.
no problem. And this is just the plastic, and then we can put it on. But I definitely do see that this phone does have an issue with a battery.
Yeah.
And I can definitely change that. So the battery, I'm gonna do the battery basically. So go through some of the steps, not all of them. So I'm taking the screws out and disconnecting the battery again. So some people, I don't know if they do, they may try to take it out without the screen, with the screen on, but I don't, because like I said earlier, these cables are so delicate that even pulling the screen back further past 90 degrees can mess the cables up. So we don't want to put any more stress on the cable. So what I'm going to do is just disconnect and take the screen off so that it's clear and free and out of my way. Here's the battery. So this is from the old screen.
That was still in there.
That's basically, so that's some of the stuff that sometimes happens. Basically what that is on the old screen, I don't know if it's this screen, so these little set screw holders, they break off.
Okay.
And sometimes they break off and they lay inside your device. And it sometimes can short your phone out as well. If it gets wedged in the wrong spot, it's now adding an extra conductor of electricity. What I like to do to get my batteries, take my batteries off, this is a good thing because I thought it was already done, is Apple has these little adhesive straps, little strips. So what I do is I peel this back and then I just pry a little bit on the edge of the battery, bringing it up, bringing it up, bringing it up, bringing it up. So I'm pulling the adhesive out and I just pull it down.
That's cool.
It's like bubble gum.
Yeah, just keep pulling it, pulling
It's like
it,
those
pulling
command
it.
strips.
Yeah.
And there you go. So now this side is basically free of the adhesive, and I just keep pulling up. Just make sure that you're under. You don't want to puncture the battery.
Yeah. Is there a special way to dispose of the battery whenever?
Yes, you're supposed to actually take them to like Staples, and they have like a battery disposal. You're not supposed to throw them in the garbage.
Right.
You can kill your garbage guy. So you just pull both of the tabs out. Sometimes it breaks off, so then what I do is just get my other tube and I just grab the adhesive again. So it's powering on. I didn't put the set screws just in, put in back just in. I want to make sure that it powers up and it's not giving any issues or sign that, you know, it's a bad battery or there's something else wrong with the device. So I just want to see it power on and then I'll power it back off. So it powered on. So this seemed to be pretty good because before,
yeah, I feel like it would have turned off by now.
it would have turned off, or it definitely was, because every time I got to select here, it turned off.
Yeah.
And then these, you just don't want to screw them too tight neither. As soon as you feel a little bit of resistance, that's when you can stop. And so the phone is good to go.
Cool.
We can power it back on one more time.
Look, it's brand new.
Have a new battery.
Hey, Rob, thanks so much for coming and fixing this.
No problem, anytime.
So, guys, this has been the Pulls service. They do, as I mentioned, smartphone repair. They do mounting of TVs, setting up smart homes, all different kinds of great services for reasonable prices. Again, the screen repair, Rob said, was $79.
Yes, the screen repair is $79.
And then the battery, if you do it with the screen repair, is
$49.
So that's all in all a pretty good deal. You don't have to leave your house. They come right to you. Excellent service. Rob was super nice.
Fast.
And I had we not been bothering Rob the entire time, I'm sure he would have been done a lot faster.
Perfectly fine.
So thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys.
We hope you have a great rest of the day. And remember, take care of your computers. That too.
Yeah, it definitely broke that time. Whole top of the screen just chunked off. So we're gonna have them fix that.